Today, I will be escaping the WITHER prison, one of Minecraft's hardest prisons. Will I be able to escape all of the rooms and get out alive, or will I be stuck within the unbreakable bedrock walls? Well, you're about to find out. Also, only a small percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed, so make sure to subscribe so we can hit 10,000 subscribers. When I spawned in, I found myself in a bedrock hallway with lava in front of me. I approached the lava and found another hallway directly in front of me and two platforms to the sides. On the left side, the platform had an ender pearl and the platform to the right had some signs. Each of the signs read a different color of concrete, which kind of confused me. I turned around and found that there was a 1-block opening. I went into F5 to get a view of where it led and I found a blue concrete block. I realized it matched one of the colors from the signs, so I figured I needed it, but I had no way of reaching it. I decided to jump over to the other hallway and grab the dirt block. I knew I could use the dirt block to reach the ender pearl and then use the ender pearl to reach the blue concrete. So I placed the dirt down in the lava and then jumped on it. I then leaped across the lava to the ender pearl and grabbed it from the item frame. I then used the dirt to get back to the hallway and then I threw the pearl to enter the tunnel. In the tunnel, I found that there was another block of dirt beside the concrete. I grabbed both of the blocks and then went back. I used the new piece of dirt to reach the signs, and after thinking for a bit, I decided I would place the concrete under the sign like it was a key. When I placed it, the block underneath immediately disappeared and revealed a chest. I opened it up and found a diamond sword. I spent a minute thinking about what I could use it for and couldn't come up with anything, but then I turned around and noticed that a hole had opened up where the pearl used to be. I jumped over to it and found that it led to a villager. The villager was trading white wool for some sticks and a fishing rod for a purple concrete block. I knew that purple was one of the blocks I needed, but I wasn't sure how to obtain the rod. I decided to go to the left first and I found a trapdoor in the center of the room. I jumped down to get a better view and couldn't find anything else, so I exited that room and went to the other one. In the other one, I found some cobwebs and I realized I could use them to make a wool block, so I used the sword to break them. But after breaking them all, I found that I didn't have enough to make the wool. I went back to the room from earlier and this time found a button. When I pressed it, a sheep materialized from nothing and it was a white sheep, so I knew I could get some wool from it. I killed the sheep, which dropped the wool block, and then I remembered the villager was trading it for sticks. I went back to the villager and then traded, and then I used the sticks as well as the string to make a rod, which I traded for the purple concrete. I then went back to the signs and placed the block. This time I was given a bucket of water, and after a while I noticed there was a hole in the ceiling and I used the water to scale up it. When I reached the top, I found the pink and final block. I went to the signs and placed the block down, and immediately a hallway opened up directly to the left of me. There was a pressure plate that I couldn't avoid, so I stepped on it and my inventory was cleared. I continued down the hallway and found a large room. I immediately saw a blaze, which became my main priority. After a bit, I realized it wasn't shooting at me, so I hit it, and several hits later, I finally killed it. There was a furnace to the left, and inside of it was 2 raw iron. I realized I had a blaze rod, so I put it in the furnace to smelt the iron. I looked around and noticed 2 openings. The first one I couldn't get a good look at, and the second led to a tall shaft. I investigated the snow and decided not to break it because I wasn't sure if I would need it. I went back to the furnace and grabbed the iron, and I jumped onto the furnace and then the nearby crafting table to see if I could get into the room. I couldn't reach it, so I decided to see what I could craft. It didn't show much, but after thinking for a moment, I decided to craft a chain to get up to the room. I placed it and then jumped onto it and then into the room. The room was large and slanted, and I walked up the slant and found a shovel in one corner and a target in the other. I grabbed the shovel and looked around. I had no projectiles to trigger the target, and there appeared to be nothing else in the room, so I went back to the previous one. I saw the snow and immediately knew what to do. I used the shovel to get some snowballs, and then I went back to the target. I threw one and hit it, and it opened a hole up in the ceiling. Inside was a water bucket, but it was just out of reach, so I used the snowballs to craft a snow block, and then I placed them and used them to jump up and grab the bucket. I went to the shaft from earlier and then used the water bucket to climb up it. When I reached reached the top of the hallway, I found an orange wall. The rules state that I'm not allowed to break orange concrete, so that was not an option. I noticed a cauldron hidden in the wall, and I couldn't see if anything was in it, so I put my water down and tried to empty it. Nothing happened, so I knew it was empty. I picked the water back up and decided to place it in the cauldron. When I put the water in, the wall immediately opened. It revealed a large room with a pool of lava at the bottom. There was an opening in the corner, which I knew I needed to get to. I dropped down a bit and then used my remaining snow blocks to get to the opening. The opening was a hallway that led to another room. This room had two corners with chests as well as an opening in one of the walls. There was a lava flow in one wall and a brewing stand near one of the chests. I walked up to the opening and found that there were nether warts hidden inside. I couldn't reach them, so I decided not to break them. I walked over to the brewing stand to see if there was anything inside of it, and I found that it was empty. I hopped on the stand and then jumped to open the chest, and inside I found some blaze powder. I then tried to open the other chest, but it was just far enough away that it would close before I could grab what was inside. So I placed a snow block down and opened it up. Inside was a big drip leaf, which I used to begin crawling so that I could grab the nether warts. I assumed I was supposed to make a fire resistance potion, but I was still missing a water bottle and magma cream. I went to the lava flow to see if something was behind it, and I didn't find anything. I tried to see if there was something hidden to the side of the lava, and I found a chest with the water bottle. Now all I needed was the magma cream. I broke the chest to see if it was hidden behind them, but I couldn't find it anywhere. I went back to the room from earlier to see if I had missed it, and I found that there was a chest hidden under the lava, and inside of it was the magma cream. I then brewed the fire resistance potion and then entered the lava to continue on. In front of me was a sign that told me I was no longer allowed to break anything. That includes chests and blocks I placed, so I was pretty worried about what would come next. I continued on and I stepped on a pressure plate that once again cleared my inventory. Next, there was a several block drop, which meant there was no turning around. I continued on and found another chest. Inside were 3 wither heads. At this point, I had a pretty good idea on what I would have to do. I continued down the winding hallway, which led to an ominous sign saying that there was only one way out. There was a short drop and a bedrock trail that I assumed I was supposed to follow. The path led me to a chest with an elytra. I put the elytra on and then noticed the soul sand shaped like a wither. There was nowhere else I could go, so I placed the heads down and spawned in a wither. I got as far away as I could and it blew up, revealing the outside world. I had no chance of beating it, so I jumped and glided down to a nearby village. I knew the wither would be here in seconds, so I grabbed what I could from the village and then noticed another wither had spawned. I went to go investigate what happened, but was killed in the process.